Let's dive right into this explainer and tackle what is, without a doubt, the absolute #1 hurdle for Italian learners. Yep, we're talking about prepositions. If you've spent any time at all studying Italian, you already know these tiny little words pack a seriously frustrating punch. But today, we're exploring a real game changer, the Complete Prepositions Collection. It's a definitive grammar workbook series spanning volumes 1 through 3, written by Roberto Borzellino. And it promises to take you from second-guessing literally every sentence to absolute mastery.
So, if you're an A2 or B1 pre-intermediate learner feeling totally frustrated by how one tiny, incorrect word can derail your entire sentence, listen, you are absolutely not alone. Think about it. How many times have you paused mid-sentence, just completely frozen, wondering if you should say you're going in Italy or a Italy? Or, I don't know, whether a leather bag is di pelle or da pelle. It is the classic roadblock.
To finally solve this puzzle, we're going to follow a really logical roadmap today. We'll look at the preposition problem itself, meet the mentor behind this method, walk through his 3-step path, uncover what he calls the golden rule, and then see how to practice it until it's perfect.
All right, let's kick things off by looking at the core problem and the expert who's stepping in to help us out.
The cover of Borzellino's collection actually gives us a perfect sneak peek at the logic we were about to learn, right there in that Venn diagram. Over on one side, you've got your simple prepositions, words like di, a, and da. Over on the other side, you have your articulated prepositions. Those are the merged ones like del, alla, and nei. And right there in the overlapping center, that is the mixed practice. It shows us that the solution to the preposition problem isn't just chaotic memorization. It's actually about recognizing that there's a highly structured, almost mathematical logic to the language.
And what I absolutely love about this is that we aren't just dealing with a bunch of untested theory here. This entire method is backed by Borzellino's incredibly impressive 30 years of professional experience teaching Italian to foreigners. He has literally spent 3 decades watching students stumble over the exact same hurdles over and over. So this collection, it's the culmination of all those years. It is a refined, battle-tested system built by someone who knows exactly how an A2 or B1 brain processes Italian grammar. So, how exactly does this system work? Let's break down the 3-step learning path.
The collection is spread across 3 volumes, giving you a really smooth progression. Step 1, which is all of Volume 1, focuses entirely on mastering the 9 invariable simple prepositions. We're talking di, a, da, in, con, su, per, tra, and fra. Get those locked in first. Then, Step 2 in Volume 2 introduces the articulated prepositions. This shows you exactly how 5 of those simple prepositions merge with definite articles. And finally, Step 3 in Volume 3. This is where the training wheels completely come off. It's the mixed preposition stage, where you learn exactly when to choose the simple form versus the articulated form.
And to make sure this is actually accessible rather than, totally intimidating for A2 to B1 learners, the books feature crystal clear bilingual Italian-English support for every single definition and vocabulary list. You are never left guessing. For example, when you learn the preposition di, you immediately see its uses, possession, material, and topic, complete with the English translations right there, of, from, about. Having this bilingual bridge is huge. It ensures that all your cognitive energy is spent on mastering the grammar mechanics, not frantically flipping through a dictionary. Now, we're getting to the absolute core of this explainer, the aha moment. It is time to master what Borzellino calls the golden rule. The entire secret to knowing whether you should use a simple or an articulated preposition boils down to this one singular, foolproof rule about articles. Here it is. If the noun you are connecting to does not take a definite article in that specific context, you use a simple preposition. But if the noun does take an article, you use the articulated preposition. I know, it sounds deceivingly simple, right? But applying this straightforward binary choice changes absolutely everything.
Let's look at this rule in action. Take a fixed expression like vado a scuola. I'm going to school. The word scuola takes no article there, so we just use the simple preposition a. But what if you're going to the station? Vado alla stazione. In this case, stazione takes the definite article la. Because the article is there, our simple preposition a merges with la, transforming into the articulated preposition alla. Boom, it's a perfect equation.
The guide also essentially hands you the cheat codes, the exact scenarios where you predictably drop the article, which triggers that simple preposition. Think about cities. They always take a with no article, so it's a Roma or a Milano. Countries take in with no article, in Italia.
Jumping on transport? It's in treno or in autobus. Just hanging out in company is simply con Marco, and expressing a purpose is per te. Honestly, memorizing these typical no-article cases is half the battle won right there.
On the flip side, when you actually do need the article, the guide hooks you up with precise memorization tables for the 5 prepositions that merge. We're talking about di, a, da, in, and su. These guys fuse with articles like il, la, I, and le to create entirely new words, like del, alla, or ne. But, and this is an absolutely crucial rule to remember, the other 4 simple prepositions, con, per, tra, and fra, never merge. No way. They always stay completely separate from the article.
All right, theory is great and all, but we all know fluency requires actual application. So let's look at how we practice, check, and perfect this knowledge.
The sheer volume of practice you get here is genuinely staggering. You are getting exactly 300 integrated exercises across the whole collection. And listen, these aren't just your standard repetitive drills. They really scale up. They start with easy, straightforward fill-in-the-gap sentences and multiple-choice questions, but then they build all the way up to highly challenging error correction exercises. That's where you literally have to play detective, hunt down the one wrong preposition hidden in a sentence, and fix it.
To conquer all 300 of those exercises, you're guided through a really rigorous core learning loop. First, you study the theory schemas. Second, you tackle the 100 exercises dedicated to that specific volume. And third, and I cannot stress how vital this is, you check your work against the fully explained answer keys. That's the secret sauce. These aren't just simple lists telling you the right word. They explain why it's correct. So if the answer is D, the key tells you it's because it indicates possession or material. That means the answer key actually acts as an active learning tool, reinforcing the theory every single time you correct a mistake. Borzellino actually offers this really reassuring promise right at the beginning of the collection. He says that if you just trust the process and work through it strictly one volume at a time, victory over this massive obstacle is guaranteed. It's all about pacing yourself, guys. You don't want to try to learn mixed prepositions before you've even mastered the simple ones. You build a foundation, you add the articles, and only then do you mix them all together.
Oh, and as a really fun, surprising little bonus, the collection even includes a free download for the first chapter of an easy A2 to B1 Italian detective story. It features this character named Edward Blake. Honestly, this is such a brilliant addition because after grinding through 300 exercises, you finally get to see your newly mastered prepositions out there in the wild. You get to see them functioning naturally inside an engaging narrative. It is the absolute perfect reward for all your hard work.
So, let's recap. You've got an expert mentor with 30 years of experience backing you up. You have a logical 3-step path to follow. You have 300 exercises waiting to test your skills. And most importantly, you are now armed with the golden rule. So what's your next step on your journey to Italian fluency? Think about a sentence you've really struggled with in the past. Does it need an article? Does it not? Apply the golden rule today and watch the #1 hurdle in the Italian language completely disappear in your rearview mirror.